Hey, welcome back to another episode of What Elon Liked Today. We're seeing what Elon liked on Twitter. Today is March 16th, 2022. And our first like of the day, we have a couple interesting ones today. First one is about daylight savings time, which just happened in the United States. We just switched to it. Everyone complains every single year about it, that we don't need the winter version. And now, I didn't even know this was happening, that the U.S. Senate voted unanimously, which is a rare thing, on Tuesday to make daylight savings time permanent. A move supporters say would make winter afternoons brighter and end the twice changes of the clock. So apparently we're going to be saving daylight year round. And I'm mixed about it. I kind of like the winter nights in a way, and also I would prefer it was a little lighter in the morning. So if daylight savings is permanent in the middle of January, it's going to be very dark when everyone's going. And I, as a believer in the sun, believe that we need the light much more in the morning than we do later in the day. So I'm actually probably personally against it, but a lot of people are happy about it. So we'll see what happens. If it's unanimous, most likely it will happen with Congress voting for it as well. And I think they said it would take place next November. That would be when it starts. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
well, it's still got to get through the House and Biden's desk, so maybe you can get the word out.
If it's unanimous in the Senate, I'm sure it will pass.
Pretty sure. But this is a big move. I mean, I don't think daylight savings time has always been a part of U.S. calendar, right? Like
no, but for a long time.
It has for a long time, but not the whole time.
No. And there are parts of the country that don't switch. Yes. I don't know if they switch the other way, like because daylight savings time is permanent. I don't know if they had whatever the other one is. And I just think that having dark mornings in the winter is worse than having darker evenings, personally. But we'll see what happens.
My opinion, just from my career in the delivery business, that light later in the evening is definitely better. And I always hated it when there was the winter or the fall back in the winter. Uh-huh. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to know if Ireland, where I am currently, is considering such a measure. Ours is like 2 weeks later, but we also have extremely long daylight in the summer and extremely short daylight in the winter. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
we'll see.
I have
start a wave.
I'm not bothered at all by changing the clocks, but I always was frustrated to have less evening daylight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I need to read more about that decision there and why it was made.
I think I don't spend too much time on this, but I don't think it's a national thing. I mean, I personally think it should be by state, because if you're in Florida, it doesn't make a difference because they're closer, their days are longer in general. But northern states, I don't know. I think it makes a difference in the morning.
Yeah, I think that would be a little awkward though if you had two states next to each other that had different times.
They'd have that now.
In like two, maybe.
Well, everything along. No, like Georgia and Tennessee, and like in Tennessee the time changes. Well, yeah, but in Tennessee, everything where the time changes in the middle of the U.S. that all changes, and then the Western states change. A lot of places.
Yeah. Good point.
So anyway, we'll move back onto the Elon.
We're 4 hours apart right now, and it'll be 5 in 2 weeks. Great. So
yes,
we make it work. All right. Next here we have Zach commenting about FSD beta 10.11. Just took me door to door with 0 disengagements this morning on my commute. Noticing some great improvements with the build as well, and just a nice picture of the visualizations there. That always just fascinates me. Cool. I really do want to see a montage of the progression in the visualization of FSD. It's just
I just took a self drive. It wasn't the full self drive. I took a test drive of a newer Tesla recently, and it was still black and white. This is color now. I didn't see, it wasn't color when I drove. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think like the details of the cars and the people and bikers are all getting better and less jittery, and it's really looking good. You can just imagine what it'll look like in another couple of years.
Yes. So here we have a Ilya Sutskever. I've totally destroyed his name. I'm sure.
OpenAI, okay.
OpenAI is launching a debate about AI engineering as opposed to AI science is underrated even today. I have no way of having a functioning conversation about this because I am not an AI engineer nor an AI scientist. So I'll take him at his word.
But I had a thought this morning.
Elon agrees.
I had a thought about Elon and his mentality, and just based off of interviews and stuff, and the work that he does. It's very real world based, right? So outside of PayPal, like he did the internet thing, and then he really transitioned to more real world problems, cars, space travel. You're not doing this type of stuff in the metaverse, right? You actually have to build these things with your hands and with machines and tools and stuff. And of course, it's integrating technology into it, but it's very real world focused. And so I guess when I read this, I think he probably liked it because he feels that the actual engineering in the real world is underrated compared to the science, which is more like, developing the prototype versus production and manufacturing.
You're right.
So I don't know. That was my take on it.
That is definitely true.
So we're back to Russia and Putin and Elon.
Yes. So we have. Oh, go ahead. You're up.
Ashley Vance saying that he's prepared to produce this reality show, Elon's Chechen Adventure. Just say the word in relation to the invite from the Chechen head of the Chechen Republic offering Elon to come train there. And here's, I thought this was hysterical. Here's a visualization of the training.
The bear
could occur.
Russian style.
If that's not hardcore, I don't know what is.
That is. Even the bear's scared.
Yeah. Okay. What we got next up?
Here, we have a new batch of Starlink stations that have already been delivered. This is I think the head of communications, the head of defense and communications in the Ukraine, and he's just excited. He's saying it helps the new good defeat the old evil. Ukraine is the future. Thanks, Elon Musk. So this just shows that more there. And we had a story we read on what Elon said about it being the Starlink being the number one app that is downloaded. So not only are they being delivered, but they're being implemented. Yeah. And it's a great story all around. Elon liked this, of course, and more. Hopefully, we see more of these. Just great to see that he's keeping the info flowing around around the Ukraine.
Yeah. So it looks like probably a couple hundred in there, if not a little more.
Yeah,
maybe.
At least.
That's great.
They're not too big, so absolutely.
Okay, next we have Eva Fox with a Tasmanian article, and this is about Tesla Giga Texas. It impressed Herbert Diess, who's the CEO of VW, and he's quoted as saying, "All under one roof, no logistics from cell production to the final assembly." So apparently he took a little tour there and was very impressed with the facility. So Elon continues to impress those that are willing to pay attention in the auto industry, and
absolutely
from him, and he's not hiding anything really.
It is no logistics at all. It's also there contained world.
All right, I'm gonna let you take this because this is your favorite topic here.
Oh yeah, this was a little confusing to me. Brett Winton from ARK Invest, one of their analysts, said, actually their lead researcher, I think, He said, thinking about Wright's law, cost declines, and how abundant capital can impair a company's ability to deliver bottom line. Throw $1 billion at something, and your unit one becomes much larger. So you end up at a structurally shallower cost decline slope. So I think this is what the saying is. Wright's law is a rule that with each iteration of doubling of technology, like production, I should say, the costs collapse by a equal amount. So over time, as you go from, say, electric vehicles where there's not many produced to millions, the cost is going to substantially reduce. Meanwhile, the fuel injection cars with gasoline, they're not going to be doubling the number of those cars anytime soon. So their cost really is never going to fall. So the cost decline is more substantial for the newer technologies. And this is saying that if you have too much capital, I'm guessing too much venture capital, it can get in your way. And I don't know if this was a dig or a point towards Rivian and how their costs are so out of control right now, and that they'll never be able to reduce it in a substantive way because the amount of venture capital is inflating where the initial base point should be. That's my take, but I could be wrong.
Wow, that is I think that's a great explanation. I hadn't thought of Rivian. I mean, I know ARC has been speaking for a while now and trying to highlight the huge discrepancy in private VC markets versus public markets, that have growth companies within the public markets that have just taken a huge hit over the last year, versus in the VC markets where they're all exploding with crazy multiples. So yeah, I mean, I think he's indicating that's maybe more of a hindrance than it is a help. And I had
Yes.
not really been able to visualize that in my mind until you mentioned Rivian there. And I think that's a good example.
Yeah. So interesting. Interesting. And Elon agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Kind of endless. So you want to take the Scott Adams
Yeah,
one?
sure. Scott Adams, the illustrator and author of Dilbert, right? He
Yes.
says, if Elon Musk gets to fight Putin, I want to crack at Lavrov. I think I could take him. And I don't know. Scott Adams looks like a pretty skinny guy, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe
He he's
maybe he
become
can
very
win.
political in the last couple of years. But I think Lavrov, I had to look him up. I think he was one of the heads of, one of the chief guys in Russia. So he's saying I could take him. Just he's getting in on the action. I think this was like a little maneuver to get attention, and he got it from Elon.
Yeah, got almost 20,000 likes on that one. So
That's right. And here we have the Elon liked this one for about Tesla insurance, which we were discussing the other day. That Tesla insurance is going to be a complete game changer. This is from 2x million mile battery. This same friend ordered an M3 after driving mine, and his mother bought one last week after driving his. You are in trouble, Progressive. Please expand globally, Elon Musk. And they show a exchange that says that Progressive quoted $1,280 for 6 months of insurance, and then Tesla insurance had a quote of 350. That is a substantial difference.
yeah,
Now, I don't know if it
I
really
mean,
that's true. Elon liked it, so maybe it is. But man, they will be in trouble if this happens, especially if, I mean, there's only so many people that have Teslas. But if eventually they license their FSD technology, well, with FSD, you don't need insurance. But those insurance companies are going to be in a lot of trouble in the coming years if people don't need it, or it's much lower through another company such as Tesla.
yeah. And as we spoke about, as the cars continue to get smarter and there's more analytics being captured by the car companies, why they're either going to build their own insurance division
Yes.
based off of
Yes.
that data, or they're going to sell it. And Progressive and other traditional insurers are going to have to pay for that. So
That's true. I
I
will
don't
miss the
see,
commercials though.
really, for me, I don't see how we don't end up at an endpoint of data feeding almost like real time insurance quotes.
Yes. It's true.
Yeah,
It's going to change it. Another example of software eats world.
that's right.
From Mark Anderson's quote.
But
All right,
yeah,
so
I
we
mean, such a
have,
huge difference there. It's one of the, I guess, downsides of owning a Tesla that I've heard about is that insuring it is higher than a normal vehicle. And maybe that's just for all EVs. I'm not sure, but I think Tesla just keeping insurance in house would, you know, is just going to change
yeah.
that.
I know. Is that you? I guess that's available for all Teslas now. The
No,
Tesla
I think
insurance.
it's just in certain states. I believe it's maybe just in Texas. I can't remember
Oh,
the individual states
okay.
that it's in, but
All right.
from what I've heard, the insurance industry is just like a bramble bush of like legislation and bureaucracy and stuff. Just you got to go
Yes.
like state by state. It's just
Hmm.
really difficult to get into. Um, but okay, moving on. Here we have a full stack of Starship on top of its booster, and I guess they let's see, Ship 20 is stacked on booster 4. So
Very
they
cool.
restacked this thing to do some more testing. I think there's another one here as well. So Ship 20 has been stacked atop booster 4. Once again, SpaceX will conduct more tests over the next few days, gathering more important data leading to the first launch. So just some
Wow.
cool shots there.
Yeah.
And that is literally from yesterday. So pretty neat.
Very cool.
Um, so this was the end of. Did you catch this one from Dave Lee?
No, it's not.
Okay. So Elon here in talking about or responding to Holmars about just how difficult FSD is, he kind of details how they're approaching it and really like just how much work is being put into it, both like hard resources and human resources. And Dave Lee quotes that and says, if it wasn't obvious here or wasn't obvious before, Elon Musk makes it clear that Tesla will build a multi-billion-dollar neural net training supercomputer cluster. And by the way,
Hmm.
it's amazing that as an FSD beta tester, I can try out the latest cutting-edge real-world AI software and track its improvement over time. It's history in the making. And Elon liked that.
Excellent. Yeah. Nice.
All right, and
But it's true.
lastly here, we have Mr. Colbert. Have you seen this one?
I have not seen it. You might want to read it. I missed these last couple.
All right, well, we'll turn on the
They're
volume
now
here,
discussing
and
banning imports
basically
of
he's
Russian
just
oil.
talking about
Take that, Putin. We're not going to buy
how
our
we're
gas from a war criminal.
sanctioning
We're going to buy it from the good
Russia
guys.
and not
Saudi
buying
Arabia.
oil from Putin and Russia,
But
and saying we're not
it's
going to
gonna
buy
cost.
from you, dictator.
Since
We'll
the
just keep getting
invasion,
it from
oil
Saudi
prices
Arabia.
have skyrocketed. Today, the
And then
average
he
gas
also
price in
comments
America
that
hit an all-time record high of
the
over
fuel
$4
prices that are at
per
an
gallon.
all-time
Okay,
high,
that
and
stings, but a clean
that doesn't
conscience
bother him all
is
that
worth a
much
buck or
because there's a
two.
price you got to pay,
I'm
and he
willing to
drives a
pay.
Tesla.
Yes. I'll pay $15 a gallon because I drive a Tesla.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's good stuff. So interesting here. It's from Tom Elliott. Made it across Elon's feed, and he liked it.
He's liking it.
So I think that's all for the likes today. So we will go ahead and wrap it up there. Never a dull moment as usual. But appreciate everyone tuning in. If you like the video, please give it a like and share and subscribe. We appreciate it.
That sounds good.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.